In this demo, I'll show you how to build and scale ecosystem with partners by requesting credentials from each other through ProofSpace. I'll set up a flow between an individual using the ProofSpace app and two entities, each using a ProofSpace dashboard, which we call services. The first service will issue a verified ID to the user based on self-attested, which means user-provided information. And the second service will request this verified ID from the user, verify it, and issue another credential to the user based on the data in this ID. First, you will have to sign up on the ProofSpace platform. Click Sign In on the ProofSpace website. It will get you to the login page. If you are a new platform user, click Sign Up. Otherwise, enter your email and password and click Login. Signing up for ProofSpace is very fast and hassle-free. Enter your email address, which in the future will be your login for both the admin page and your service dashboard. Then add your password and click Sign Up. Make sure you have access to your email when signing up, as you will receive a code that must be entered on the last step of the sign-up process. So, check your email, get the code, enter it in this field, and click Submit Code. You can now create your first service. Select your preferred payment plan, accept the terms and conditions, and click Next. On the next page, enter the name and description of your service. If this box is checked, your service will be visible in a list of services in the ProofSpace app. Select the country where your service operates or select Global. Select a category. In my example case, it is ID verification. Upload your logo. This logo will be on all credentials your service will issue. You may also upload the banner. Users will see this banner in the ProofSpace app at the top of your service homepage screen. This step is not required, as you can add the banner later. Now click Finish. Your new service has been submitted for review. When we approve it, which usually happens within 8 business hours, you can proceed to set up an interaction with your users. During the approval process, the ProofSpace tool will create a unique decentralized identifier, DID, for the service. Through the ProofSpace integration with the Cardano Atala Prism protocol, Prism will write the service DID in the Cardano blockchain. After a new service is approved, click Open Service and log in using your email and password you used when signing up. The dashboard is the first thing you see when you sign in a new service. In the future, there will be all information about interactions with your users and the ability to issue credentials to the users and view the status of those interactions. First, you need to create a new schema and credential definitions to issue credentials. Both are a way to structure credentials. Schemas structure their attributes, and credential definition defines the DID of the credential issuer. Schema and credential definition owners could be the same or different. This technique allows us to build a governance layer and request and verify credentials based on the schema or public credential definition. In an ecosystem, a governance authority might create a schema that are allowed in their ecosystem. The entities that are permitted to issue credentials to users based on those schemas may be admitted to a trust registry. This way, anyone who holds a credential trusts it, and anyone who verifies the credential can rely on it. Schema and credential definitions can be used within a single service or can be public. Public schemas and credential definitions are available in a ProofSpace network. Service admin can discover the schemas and credential definitions in the corresponding sections of their dashboard. Any service can start issuing credentials based on public schemas by creating a credential definition from it or requesting credential from a user by adding schema or credential definition to the required credentials section of a particular interaction. These flexible governance features enable a wide range of use cases and help to increase trust. I will start with a schema creation. First, name your schema. You need to think of what fields, attributes should be in your future credential. What data type will be in every field? text, date, phone, number, image URL, or enumerated type. Add all attributes to your schema in which order you want to see those attributes, and click Save and Publish. After that, you will need to create a credential definition, which is another step to structure the future credential. Now you can create an interaction. An interaction is a defined user goal that is completed based on an exchange of credentials between a user and a service. For example, onboarding is one interaction. Interaction consists of a precondition, required credential from a user, and postcondition, issued credential to a user, and defines an atomic transaction which can be used to build more complex goal-oriented flows, which means multiple interactions with one or more organizations where credentials dependencies exist between each interaction. Interaction may include just a precondition, no credential will be issued to a user, or just postcondition. No credentials are required from a user to receive issued credential and complete the interaction. All these settings can be configured in ProofSpace Dashboard's Interactions tab. Click Add Interaction. On the new page, name and describe this interaction. The user will see the name on the app's interaction button, then add the icon to the interaction, which also be visible in the app. You can upload your picture or use the default one. After that, choose how interaction will start it, by scanning the QR code, which can be static or dynamic, by clicking a button in the app, or it will be initiated from the service, which means that the user will be notified and asked to accept this credential. Next, set the required and issued credentials. The required credential definition is the one that was used as a source for issuing the credential you want the user to share with you as a precondition for executing this interaction. For example, to issue the user a diploma, you can ask them to share their verified ID. If the user doesn't have this verified ID, the interaction will not start. You can also set a schema as a source for their required credential. In the first interaction with a new user, we recommend adding a ProofSpace notification ID. It is one of the default credentials from the ProofSpace service. Knowing the user's notification ID will let you send push notification to this user in the future. Set the required credential for the interaction. ProofSpace service has a set of default credentials. One of them is a user profile. It is self-attested credential, which means that the user will provide the data and no one verifies it. It contains the most generic information about a person, first and last names, date of birth, telephone, address, and so on. Because in this flow, this service will issue to the user a verified ID, I can set a user profile credential as required for this interaction. You can request to share the whole credential or minimize data collection to select only the necessary attributes from the credential. The received data can be shared to the third-party system at this stage via webhook. In the Issued Credential Definition section, you can set the credential definition based on which you will issue the credential to your user. Here you can find only credential definitions that belong to your service. When the issued credential definition is selected, you can set the rules for pre-filling the issue credential fields to make the issuance process seamless for both the dashboard operator and the user. Each attribute's value can be pre-filled from the existing credential required from the user, or it can have a constant, unique auto-generated, or random value. The data for the credential attributes can also be received via webhook from third-party system. These webhook functions enable you to utilize the ProofSpace dashboard like a backend solution that sends and receives credential data to from your existing front-end. You may read more about it in our knowledge base. After that, you can set up a message flow your user will see in the different stages of the interaction. you can restrict the way of user can perform this interaction. If once is selected, the user will be able to perform this interaction only once. With the sequence setting, the user can initiate this interaction several times, but only after he or she completes the one that was already been started. And with concurrent option, the user will be able to initiate the interaction an unlimited number of times and without any restrictions. After you set all these details, click Done. Now I am on a different service dashboard. I created it the same way as the previous one. Similarly, I also created schema and credential definition for the issued credential. This service wants to require the user's self-attested information, such as her first and last name, her date of birth, and her address, as a verifiable credential before automatically issuing her a verifiable user account card. The operator is searching for a public schema that may contain these attributes in a public schema list. I also can find public schemas and credential definitions on the required credential definition section while creating the interaction. In the same way as I showed you with the first service, I set the first few steps of the interaction on this service. In the required credential definition section, as the dashboard operator, I can find the credential definition of the ID Spot service that suits my needs. After that, I follow the same steps to finish creating the interaction. Now I can execute the flow and show you the user experience for both a dashboard operator and the mobile app user. The user can initiate both interactions by scanning the QR code. This QR code can be embedded on your website or displayed physically, for example, at the reception desk, as configured in this flow. If this QR code is embedded in your website or web portal, the data from your database can be passed to the user's app and then to your ProofSpace service through the webhook or a series of webhooks we call extensions. So, at the beginning of the interaction with the first service, I, as a mobile app user, scan the QR code at the register, send the required data to the service, and show the registry my physical IDs. The registry compares the information she received on the dashboard with the information in my physical IDs and manually issues me the credential. In no time, I get this credential in my ProofSpace app, which is also my ID wallet. The second service is a mobile operator who can issue a user account information card to me. This credential will be issued automatically, but first, the mobile operator wants my name, date of birth, and address as a verifiable credential. I scan the QR code to initiate this interaction and see that I have to share this specified credential. I agree to share this credential and click Proceed. The service verifies my credential and issue me a user account card with my name, user ID, and telephone number. Such flow can be extended with additional features available on the ProofSpace platform. For example, you can set up integration with third-party systems to save time, improve customer experience, and avoid human errors.
Thank you for watching this demo.
you can proceed to set up an interaction with your users.